Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to another Room2Breathe podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach 614, and I'm so glad that you made space to be here with us today. Now, before we get into this episode, do me a quick favor. If you're feeling the vibe, go ahead and show us some love. Tap the screen, like, comment, and share this out with someone who may need a little healing energy today. And if this is your first time here or you haven't done so already, be sure to hit that follow button, subscribe to our channel, so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. I also want to personally invite you to check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you will find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch and free resources to nourish your growth and remind you that you're supported every step of the way. Just know this. You don't have to do it alone. We're healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So today, give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, and most importantly, you. Now, if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop a green heart in the chat. It is our way of saying I'm healing, I'm growing, and I'm showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. Today's guest is a powerhouse of purpose. This is a woman whose journey is soaked in strength, obedience, and divine assignment. She is a licensed professional counselor, a certified trauma coach. She is an author, a speaker, and the creator of the HRT Method. That's healing, restoration, and transformation. Now, y'all may know her as the host of the podcast Men Cry in the Car, which is a bold and beautiful safe space for men to be heard, honored, and healed. But behind all the titles and platforms is a woman who knows what it means to survive. And I'm talking about to break, to heal, and to rise again. Family, please help me welcome the amazing and beautiful Lynn Meyer to the Room2Breathe. Hey, girl.
Hey, look, a round of applause.
Yes.
Thank you. I love the introduction. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I work hard.
Allow me to be here.
No, thank you for being here. Your presence is truly a gift to the community. So I am so happy to hold space with you today.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yes, we've been ready for this, right? Before we get into your story, I want to take a moment to just check in with your soul and ask you, how's your spirit doing today?
Oh, if I were rated from 0 to 10, I'm probably like at a 9.2.
That's what I'm talking about, right? I want to just, I guess, kind of jump right into things.
Okay.
To, I guess, maybe start by honoring your journey.
Okay.
Because I know that it didn't start with a platform, right? It started in pain. And so can you maybe take us back to a moment that you knew healing had to happen?
Oh gosh, I have so many moments, but should I choose one moment? It is when I wrapped it all together. Like my life wasn't what I wanted it to be. And I found myself in a place of like, I did not want to forgive. My heart felt like it was steel, made of steel. My relationships wasn't like, none of the relationships were where they needed to be. And then I realized, I was like, if you continue on this path of being in pain, labeling yourself as a victim, and all the things that, that we do, I did. I knew I wasn't going to have the life that I wanted. So I would say at that time, I knew I need to just like release this pain, let it go, burn it up, crush it, like whatever you want to say, in order for me to become the person that you see today.
Yeah. What I guess in that moment was your breaking point, and what were the first steps that you took towards healing?
So my breaking point was the fact that I realized that I was existing. I wasn't even living. I was truly existing. And I was in survival mode. And because, when you're in survival mode, like you just like autopilot, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
autopilot, survival mode. I couldn't rest. I couldn't do any of those things because my body knew to always be on guard, to protect, just to be aware, to be like hyper vigilant. And that wasn't even living. So that was my breaking point. I was like, you know what? You're not even doing the bare minimum of living. And I realized, I was like, that needs to stop. So the steps that went into that was the first step. Me understanding, like, you're not doing what you want to do.
Right.
Nothing is coming to you that you desire. Everything that's coming to you or attracted to you is like out of pain and turmoil and all of that. And I was just like, no. So the first step for me was just acknowledgement.
Yeah.
I had to let denial go because I was like, everything that you desire in your life that you want, you don't even have it. You could have it, but you don't have it. And this is the reason why you don't have it. And then, of course, I found counseling and some other things. And then, I would say the major thing, though, was to actually do the work. And people always talk about, what is the work? Well, the work for you is different. But for me, was acknowledging, finding the person, talking about it, releasing it, knowing that it was affecting my life, impacting my life in all areas, my finances, my relationships, like everything. And so those were the steps I would say I just started to do.
Absolutely. And, here at Room to Breathe, we talk a lot about how healing is not pretty, right? And we know that it is not linear. It is the most, bumpy roller coaster that you will ever be on. But again, in taking that first step, we also have to remember, to take the second step and the third step, right? You got to stay the course or stay on in the process.
For sure.
What, looking back from then to now, you being, the HRT coach or the heart coach, right? Mm-hmm. What did becoming that cost you? And what did it give you? Because, in anything that we do when we're walking in our purpose, it costs us something. But it also blesses us with something. So thinking about that, what does that look like?
So I'm going to say this because it's going to answer both questions.
Mm-hmm.
I literally, and for those that get triggered by certain words, I totally apologize, but this is who I am. I literally had to kill her, talking about myself. The old person that was not even walking around, but I would just say walking around. That person that was existing had to go.
Yeah.
She had to go in order for this person that you see today to thrive, because I thrive now. I don't even live anymore. I thrive, but I literally had to kill her. I had to go in and just unalive her and whatever words that need to be said. But I'm telling you, this what I had to do. She had to go.
Yeah.
She had to be 86. Let's say that she had to be 86, destroyed. She had to go. No remnants, no residual, nothing could be left of her. She just had to. And so that was it. In order for me to show up in purpose, in order for me to even be able to be the HRT coach, the heart coach, and I accept both, and I'll tell you that in a minute. To be that person, that had to go, because I couldn't serve being in pain. I couldn't serve being in, or even getting into the place that I am now. Being wounded, the broken, the damaged, the unloved, all of that I was feeling. How was I going to serve anybody if that's how it was showing up in my heart? Yes, I pretended, and I could have told people, yeah, I'm healed. But on the inside, I knew I would have been a phony. So that's what had to happen.
Yeah. No, and I 100% understand that. I always refer to, I don't know if you ever got into the series, The Walking Dead. But I felt like I was one of the Walking Dead. At one point I was alive, but then, over the years, certain things have just happened that just have killed parts of us off to the point where we're still here, but we're just a shell of who we used to be. Mm-hmm. And the only way to get through that is to, like you said, you got to let things go. You got to let people go. And sometimes it's us. That's the part that I think people don't understand. Sometimes we have to stop and realize we are the common denominator in the problems that we are having. And you do have to just let that person go by any means necessary, And so for me, you saying that and hearing that, that's powerful because I totally identify with that.
Yeah.
And honestly, that brings me to obedience, right? Mm-hmm. You think about obedience because it really does take obedience when you're on that journey, because healing is like healing is one thing, but
Mhm.
being called to then help other people through the pain is something completely different. Like that's
Completely.
next level right there. When did you realize that your pain was tied to your purpose, and what did obedience, or I guess your obedience to your purpose really require of you?
Oh God. Honestly, and when you said you were once living at one point and then you were like the Walking Dead, that is so beautiful because abuse happened to me when I was so young. I never did live. I didn't know what living was. I just knew existing was possible because I understood that. So I never lived in my life until I became older. Then I started thriving. But I would say, and the reason why I brought that up is because I knew the pain and purpose, all that was tied to my life, even when I was like 9 years old.
Hmm.
It is strange. Like when you can feel something inside of you, like you're like, Lord, I know there's something in me because I got baptized as a child. And like my parents didn't have to say, you go and you tell them you want to live for what. No, I felt it in my spirit. I didn't understand what the Holy Spirit was, but I understood as I went up there and I told the minister, I was like, I want to live for the Lord. And I just cried. And I sat there, I said, why am I crying? I didn't understand it because I was 9. I was like, why am I crying? But it felt so beautiful. It felt like cleansing. And around that time, like I said, I was 9 years old. I knew there was purpose, even though I was hurting. I was like, I'm hurting, but there's going to be a purpose in this. At 9, didn't understand, but at 9, I understood that. And so what did it take? So I would say the obedience of it still made me, well, the assignment when it was presented to me. I don't know how you are with the Lord, but with me, I can be very disobedient until he shows me in vision.
Yeah.
He shows me in vision. I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. I gotta do it.
Right.
But he already told me because I know the Lord's voice. I hear it and I know the difference. So when I heard it, I was like, no. But he said, okay. I got it. When he showed it to me and I saw it, I was just like, this is the reason that all those things happen to me. When I question, why is it happening and all that? And then you say, got it. So the obedience had to come from a place of me releasing fear, me releasing like all the, just getting out of the way. Pretty much surrender, the word surrender. Getting out of the way and knowing because of the obedience, so many people were going to be healed. I was going to be the vessel that the Lord was using, because I know I'm not healing anybody. I know I'm not a savior. Right. But I understood he was using me to help these people heal. And he was like, girl, get out the way. It ain't about you.
Like this has nothing to do with you.
Nothing to do with you. And once I learned that, I was like, oh, okay. I'm the instrument. I'm the vessel. I'm this. Lord, use me however you want to use me. And that's how the obedience came. Because it's like, all right, and it's not about me.
Yeah.
The instruction, the direction, the people, all that, Lord, it's going to come from you. And so that's when I was just like, girl, that's how. Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% understand that, sis, because when it was put on me to write this music for Room to Breathe, I was like, wait, like, God, are you sure? Because I don't even sing. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, but who's gonna, and over and over again, it was like, just write the song. Like, girl, if you just don't write the song, if you just don't do it, Exactly. And then I'm like, okay, like, I still kind of question it, but like you said, like, you're gonna have to show me. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to make it plain. And so even I was still unsure after I did it, so I was obedient. I started it. I dropped the first album. That's but and let me just say, it wasn't the dropping of the album that showed me. It was the first time I used the song in the podcast. Okay. And I had the most views that day. And I'm like, where did y'all come from? I'm like, I'm used to a certain number of views every day. But like on this particular day, there were so many people there. And I'm like, who sent y'all? And it was a great live and I felt good. And then people were like, who sings that song? And I'm like, quit playing with me, and then I had to laugh like, okay, God, I see. I see what you just did. You said, write the song, you'll send the people. you know, and here we are like 7 albums later. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, you still want me to do this? Okay,
Yeah.
you know.
That's right.
And so you mentioned a little while ago the HRT coach and the heart coach.
Correct.
Can you break that down for us? Because you said you identify with both.
Yeah. And so the reason why I identify with both is because the matters of the heart is exactly what I'm dealing with. So when people say, oh, hey, heart coach, I accept it.
Yeah.
But then I also tell them it's HRT coach, which is healing, restoration, and transformation. Again, that did not come from me. God said that's who I am. And I was like, okay, break that down, Lord, because when people ask me what that means, you know, I'm going to have to tell them. And so everything that I had been through in my life, everything, I never thought I was going to heal. Never. Ever. And then from that, he was like, and when you heal, I'm going to restore everything that you felt that was broken, damaged. I was like, okay, this is sounding good to me. Okay, keep it going. And then he says, and then I'm going to transform you into what you need to be so I can use you. And I was like, Jesus, you are dope. You know, because I didn't know. I literally didn't know how this was going to play out because I'm a licensed counselor. So I knew mental health and I knew all of that, but I was just like, what else am I supposed to do? And he was like, I got you. Wait a minute. And I was like, all right. So when he gave that to me, I was just like, I love it. So like when people see me on social media and they say, hey, heart coach, hey, because again, I'm dealing with the heart. I'm dealing with that pain. So it's cool. It's cool when people say both.
Yeah, I think I was initially introduced with the heart coach. And then in the process of us, you know, connecting and networking, I learned about the HRT coach. And so I was the same. And I was like, either way, she got a special place in my heart.
Exactly.
Okay. Because that's what I'm all about, you know, that forward movement.
That's right.
We always hear people say, you know, hurt people hurt people.
Correct.
And I'm like, I don't hang out in them neighborhoods anymore because the hurt people I know heal people.
Correct.
You know, and I feel like that's just something that hits different for us healers because, you know, it's that spiritual obedience that some people just don't know, you know, anything about.
That's right.
So speaking of the spiritual obedience, right?
Let's talk about it.
I want to talk a moment for you specifically about this podcast, this Men Cry in the Car, because I know that's another thing that you were led into, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's first of all, for me, the title alone just does something for me. Like honestly, it shook something loose in me because I'm a person who I am notorious for ugly crying in the car.
Oh, for sure.
But mine is because I got to get out this house. Like I need a moment to myself. And, you know, during the pandemic, the car became the sanctuary. I would have a sip of wine or a good cry or a nap, like whatever I needed, I had in the car.
Yeah.
But when you said men cry in the car, I'm like, hold on now, because there's a lot that goes into that, right?
Yes.
So can you share with us what the heart behind men cry in the car is for you?
Yeah. So let me just go back just for a second, if I can.
Absolutely.
I've been in mental health for 24 years as a counselor. So being a licensed professional counselor, there's many hats I have worn. I've been a director at a hospital. I've been a facilitator. Like I've been a lot of things. I used to work with families. Then I started working with children. Then I said, no, I ain't working with children no more. Let me work with these parents because the parents are the reason why the children are messed up. So then I started counseling all adults. Cool. As I started counseling all adults, different trauma would come in because they would come in for depression and all this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but what's the underlying issue? Then it would be like different trauma and abuse. And I was like, see, I knew it. In that, women start sharing with me abuse and this. And I was like, I knew it because I would see it in you. The guys would come to my private practice and they would say, Lynn, you're the only woman I can cry in front of. And I'm just like, golly. I mean, look, I love the compliment. However, I don't want to be the only woman. Like, we want to get you to the place where you feel safe with your sister, your spouse, your mom, like all these things. And then I start coaching women, and then men will come in my DMs or email, like if they were on my email list, they were like, "You're not helping us." And I'm like, "I will, but I don't know when. I don't know. Like, God hadn't shown me how to help you yet." And they were like, "Man, look," and that's how they would talk to me. And I was like, "Well, when he shows me, I will let you know."
Yeah.
I had to share that part first. So then what happened is now it's been 1 year and like 3 months. My husband's brother passed away last April. And when he passed away, we had to go to Jersey. We had to go to Jersey like last minute, like spend a lot of money and all this stuff. But it was a great visit. Simply because, we hadn't seen the family. And I was like, I really hate we had to come for this occasion, but I love the fact that you were with your family. And just seeing him, he was like, oh my God, this is great. So we came home. And of course, when you lose a loved one, there's many emotions. So I took him out to eat. And the reason why I'm sharing this because it makes sense. And I want everybody to understand. I took him out to eat and I said, hey, babe, how are you feeling? Like, I know you're sad or whatever, but tell me how you're feeling. As I asked that question, God started downloading stuff in my head. He's downloading like, this is what he's going to say. And when he says this and you say this, and like, I am not lying. Like every single thing I would ask him, he would answer it. And he looked at me, he says, you're my safe space. And I wish other men had this space. I wish other men felt comfortable enough to cry in front of their wives. And I'm like, I mean, too, because, we're going back and forth. God said to me before I told him, he says, you're about to do a podcast. And I'm probably looking like this to my husband. He's looking at me, what's wrong with you? I said, no, I'm just thinking, give me a second. And God had given me the name of the podcast. And he says, and your husband is about to confirm it. And then I said, oh, and I did like that. He said, what's wrong with you? I said, you have to talk. You have to say it. He was like, say what? I said, I don't know. And he did like this. And he looked at me. He says, man, I just wish men would just get out the car because men cry in the car. I looked and I said, keep talking. And he said, yeah, because anywhere we find solitude. And I said, okay. And then check this out. Then he said, I didn't know you had a podcast. I looked back at him and I said, I do now. God had told me the name of the podcast, and he told me my husband was getting ready to confirm it. So that title did not come from me. God had already told me that's what it was. And then that's when I started reaching out to all the men. I said, guess what? Now I know how I can help you. And they were like, finally. So
oh my gosh.
Started. Yeah.
That is such an amazing story. Like I'm sitting over here with chills because it's just one of those things where we know that like it has to happen. Like everybody deserves a safe space. Correct. But as a woman, we're focused on us. We're focused on our community, so of course we know about taking care of our sisters and things like that. But we sometimes forget that our men need to process it too. I just sat down with my husband and that was probably the most enlightening conversation that I've had to a man that I've been married to for 8 years, you know, and I'm like, for real? Yeah. Like this is how you feel. And it was something you just said that reminded me of something he said, where he said that I was his peace. And girl, don't that hit different? Like it feels good knowing that unfortunately so many people don't have that. Yeah. And I look at him as being my peace as well. But to hear him say that to me, because I be thinking I'm getting on his nerves, girl. Right. Okay. Right. Like I drive that man crazy. But for him to honestly, transparently say that, I was like, wow, thank you. Exactly. I didn't even know what to say after that. I was like, show's over. Right. After that, you're like, I don't have to say anything. Yeah. You're like, I'm his peace. Have a good day. Have a good day. Exactly. It's like, see you next week. Exactly. Same time next week, Yeah, for sure. And this, I do want to say this. And the reason why Men Cry in the Car podcast is so important is because of that very same reason that you and I are talking about right now. There's men that haven't found that space, within themselves, within their environment, their community, their neighborhood,
And that is the reason why it's there, because I always say, like, I am the host, yes, but this is y'all's community. You can find your tribe in here. You can find whatever you need in here. There's resources. There's people that have written books. There's mental health advocates. And like that space that is being created for these men it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
And any man that comes on, like, you can say whatever you want to say, and I'm going to listen. I'm just like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because a lot of times people don't hear men.
Yeah.
That they are supporters and providers and all that, but we don't hear their hearts.
Absolutely.
Because what do we tell them? Oh, you better man up. Oh, you better. No.
Right.
They cry too.
Yeah. We often dismiss it or try to find a way to justify it. Sometimes we just got to let it be. They feel how they feel. It is what it is. Like, just let it be. I think we need to do more. Like, I learned from the podcast with my husband and from watching several of yours now that we just need to hold space for them. Like, that's what they want. They just want a space where they can be themselves, where they don't have to be this provider, protector, peace. They don't want to do all that. The same way we want to come in and take it all off, they just want to be able to take it all off and lay it all down and know that you still appreciate the men that they are.
That's right.
Yeah. What's been the most maybe surprising or impactful thing that you've heard from the men that you've worked with so far?
Every time I talk to a man, like, I don't know if you've seen where I started crying, but like, these men are pouring their hearts out. And I was like, to me? Mm-hmm. And when we get off, they usually say behind the scene, like, Lynn, I felt so comfortable talking to you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is amazing. Yet, my God, so I think that has been the most impactful. Just seeing them being able to be free in what they have to say, knowing that I'm not judging anything, knowing that, anybody can see this, and they feeling like vulnerable enough to be like, I don't even care. Like, I have to, say my truth. There's so many episodes, like, these men have, like, I think about this one guy that said he went to school one day, and it was just a regular day. When he came home, his mom had to tell him that his father was just killed. I was just like, Now that one kind of took me off because I know he kind of like told me a little bit.
Yeah.
But when he shared that, I was like, oh, wait, I didn't know it was like that. There's another guy that said he had gone to prison. And then he met his wife. Like, these episodes are so interesting and so valuable because the other people that are watching, and not just from men, like spouses and other people too, they can also see like, oh my God, these men really need this space.
Yeah.
And just hearing more and more and more stories because they get deeper and more interesting and more sensitive and more transparent. I'm just like, oh my God. So that has been like the biggest thing. Just the fact that these men, and most of these men don't even know me. Let me back up with that. Most of these men they come home for the first time. That's our first time seeing each other. And they're just like, I got you. What are we talking about? Because like they say, I feel safe here. So I don't know. It's just a beautiful feeling.
Yeah. I know one of the episodes of yours that I watched, I think it was you sharing a story of something that you experienced with someone eating fast. And that's what I thought. And could you maybe share that story? Because I don't want to mess it up. Like, but that impacted me because I was like, wow, like that stuck with me.
Absolutely. I'll share the story. So my husband he's very, what's the word? Comfortable with showing both sides. Like, he knows how to be very emotional in front of me because he knows I'm going to receive it well. I'm not going to judge him. But one of our very first encounters of him showing me that, hey, I can be emotional too. We were at a burger joint. I would never forget it. we were at a burger joint and we were just, conversing, whatever. And we started talking about like his childhood. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And I'm listening and he's talking, and he cries. He says, and he gets up and he goes to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, he's getting himself together. Yeah. He comes back and he sits down and he looks at me and he's bawling. And I was just like, I got it. I said, you need to go? He was like, yeah. I said, come on, let's go. And when we got home and I said, thank you for showing me that. Thank you for feeling like safe enough to even share that with me. And he was like, I never shared before in my life. Never. And I was like, what made you share? He was like, because it's you. And so we just went into that. But it's just the fact that he felt so safe to share his story and to cry in front of me and for me to receive it as if like, oh my God, this is my baby. Like, no, I'm gonna I'm gonna care for him too. Like we talk about that to this day, and that was many, many years ago. But to this day, that's so dope. And I shared it on the podcast for I forget what reason, but it was relevant to the story because men need that space.
Yeah.
About had he shared that story or his childhood with me and he cried and I looked at him like this. What are you crying for? Yeah. Why are you crying? That would have been totally different.
Yeah. He ain't telling you nothing else. Like he ain't telling you nothing else.
Right. And we're over.
Exactly. Yeah. Why in all of your, different roles that you've played over the years, why do you feel that it's so hard for men and I'll say especially Black men to allow themselves to be vulnerable in public and private places?
You already know why. Mm-hmm. But I will say, first of all, most of them were raised with the same father and the same mother, with it being this: you better not cry. What are you crying for? Get up, stop acting like a little girl, stop crying like a little girl, stop acting like this. And there's some other derogatory things they would say.
Yeah.
Stop being this and stop being that. So with growing up that way, how do I allow myself to share my emotions, my feelings, and all of that? When my parents shut me down, whoever raised me, shut me down. I couldn't cry. I couldn't go to mom or grandma and say, oh my God, I lost my whatever. Because they were like, boy, what you crying for? Okay. Right. So that stays in your mind. Showing emotion of like, I'm sad for whatever reason. Why are you sad? You just a little kid. I'm like, okay, that breaks it down too. So all the reasons that they grew up, and we know that's how it is in our community. And then having the space of, being in the place of, again, provider. You have to have like your emotions together. You can't show any emotion except for anger, because we'll accept that. You can't say you don't have it all together because we don't understand that you're the man of the house. You should. So all these things, and then they're not taught to, again, like to be free with emotion or feeling. The only thing that they're taught to be free with is, like I said, anger.
Right. Rage.
Again, if we rage, anger, all those things, because if we raise our children equally, girl do girl things, boy do boy things, like it doesn't matter. If we raise them like that, so children be children. Everybody can cry in the house. Everybody can show emotion in the house. We would have these men today that would not care that they cried in front of me, you, anybody. They wouldn't care that they say, hey, I got to take a mental health day. Hey, I can't come in. Like, I'm not good. I got that's what we should teach them. But in society, we didn't do that. It was more, again, like stoic or being a robot. Like, you have to do this. Like, and that is so unfair. And then when we get in relationships with these little boys that grew up that are still little boys on the inside, that is no diss to a man. It's no diss to a man to say that. It's because that little boy was not nurtured. And then now they're our husbands. And now we're mad because we don't know, or they don't know how to be emotional with us or romantic with us or intimate with us outside of sex. And so it's like, share your emotions. That like, we don't know. They don't.
Right. They're like, what is that?
How do they know to share the emotion? And whatever emotion they share, it's going to be rage and anger. And then we're like, this is the problem. So that's the thing. They weren't taught. We didn't accept it. We didn't let them know it was okay. And so this is the reason why Men Cry in the Car exists. This is the reason why it does, because you can do whatever you want to do on the podcast. You can scream, you can cry, you can curse, you can do like, I don't care. Just know that I am listening and I'm not judging. And that's what they need. Not just from me. They need that from you. They need, and I would say that sometimes on the podcast, wives, sisters, moms, shut up. Let your men talk. Let the men in your family talk. Let them share how they feel. They have emotions, and it's okay. Don't tell them, "Oh, you being a punk." Don't say that.
Right.
They want to feel safe with you, and the minute you show that you're not going to get that relationship or whatever you want. You're not, because you already told them that you can't be trusted. So.
Yeah, you don't get that. Like they say, first impressions are everything. I believe that you don't get that back. And that is a trait that I'm glad that I've had for years now. Honestly, I feel like my whole life, you know what I mean? To just listen. And growing up, it would be frustrating. Like my friends would try to come to me and tell me something, and I would just kind of look and listen. And they're like, well, what are you going to say? And I'm like, oh, so you want me to also give you input? You know what I mean? And that's why I'm like, when people be like, oh, how long have you been a life coach? My whole life. Like, I didn't know it. It wasn't a name for it yet. But yeah, so like with my husband, he had to understand that. Like, it was weird to him in the beginning because he would talk to me and I would be like, okay, I'm a very good active listener. But when I wouldn't weigh back in on it, and he's the only boy, he has a bunch of sisters, you know? So he's like, you ain't got nothing to say? I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I mean, if you want my opinion, I can weigh in on it, but like, no, I'm cool. He's like, no, I kind of like you just listening. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, you know? And I wish that more people had that. I mean, and it serves more than the men. Because I know when I go to talk to my friends, I have to tell them, hey, I'm just venting. I don't need your input. I'm just venting. Can you hold space for me? You know, so like I even say it. And that's why I said I think that that's a trait that everybody would benefit from, especially our men. But you know, sometimes we just need to get it off our chest, and we don't care how you feel about it. But we just need to say it to somebody. You know, we need to speak it really quick so we can move forward.
That's it. You know what? I'm so glad you said that. And I don't know if it's, you know, I feel like I've been a coach all my life too. People have always said, oh, you're so easy to talk to, or you never judge me. I'm like, I don't know where that came from. And then as I got older, I'm like, I do know where it came from. Because that's how I felt. Like I wanted people to listen to me. I wanted to feel worthy. I wanted to feel like all the things that I didn't get. So yeah, of course I turned out to be that person. Yeah. When I have conversations now, I will ask, hey, before we start this conversation, what do you need? How do you want me to support you?
Exactly.
Do you want advice? You want to be a sounding board? Because I need to know how to show up. Like, I get that, you know, so that is so true. Like, I'm not going to just give you advice and you're like, I didn't want you to say anything. Well, you should have told me. So now I take it upon myself
to ask.
How do you want me to move forward with this? What support?
Absolutely.
Oh, just listen. I'm like, okay, well then I'm just going to listen.
I can do that. Yeah, because I need to know what capacity you want me to show up, you know, and I think that that's something that we really need to normalize.
Yeah.
Teaching people the capacity, because if you bring something to me and you just want me to listen, maybe I actually have space for that.
Yeah.
Right. But then if you bring something and you're wanting me to give something back, I might not have the capacity for that today.
Right.
You know, I might not be able to suppress how I really feel about the situation in the moment. And now my face then told the story because you ain't tell me what you needed, you know? So I think that that's something that we really need to normalize in society. Like I said, I think it is especially beneficial when it comes to men because I hate saying this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Like, we do a lot of talking, ladies. And we don't do enough listening sometimes. And so I think that we need to do better. And that's for your husbands, your brothers, your sons, whoever you encounter, we need to do a better job at listening, because they're telling us, like, they are screaming for help and we're not listening because we're too busy talking. It's funny. It makes me think, I'll say this and then we'll get back on track here, but it makes me think of, I was in church and my pastor was talking about us and how we be talking too much sometimes. And he was like, ladies, sometimes y'all just need to stir the greens and cook the corn. And I was like, what? And, he was like, less talking, just stir, just listen, just let it happen, And so I've always thought of that. And anytime like my husband comes in and he'll, be frustrated about something that happened at work or whatever, and I really want to say something, but I'm like, that ain't what he wants. So he'll be like, what's that look? And I was like, oh, nothing. I was just thinking about stirring the greens and cooking the corn. And my husband be like, and of course now he knows the story. Yep. But anytime we get into this, I always think back to that day in church when the pastor, he was on us tough that day, but I needed to hear it. And I didn't know it then because I wasn't married then.
Yeah.
But once I got married, I was like, this is what he meant by stir the greens and cook the corn, because I was doing too much talking and I needed to listen. Yeah. Let's shift things a little bit to the restoration part of your work. Because I know, for those that lead, coach, speak, serve, things like that, it's very easy for us to get burnt out.
For sure.
How do you create space for your own healing while holding space for everybody else's?
The very first thing, and I can answer this real quickly, the very first thing I do is I don't take on anybody's energy, anybody's problems, anybody's anything anymore. Notice I said anymore. Because I used to, like, very early in counseling, like I would come home and be like, oh my God, I can't believe, and it would affect my marriage. And my husband's like, that's not your marriage. I'm like, I know, but and I'm like, hold on. So I had to stop that. So anytime I'm doing counseling, coaching, anything, they may not know it, they may not see it, but I always say, now I'm giving your energy back to you. May move my hands like that, or sometimes I say, okay, now I'm giving this right back to you because this is not mine, this is yours. And they're like, oh, I get it, I understand. So really being able to do that. Yeah. Also, self-care for me is anything I want to do. Yeah. Anything I want to do, I don't care. Like, no one has to say, oh, eating, because I used to eat a lot of candy. I don't anymore now, but at one point I would eat like Mike and Ike's. And if I ate Mike and Ike's, that was my self-care for that moment. Yeah. Okay? For that moment, it was me leaving my whole entire family. I would go and get like hotel rooms sometimes for like 48 hours. At first, my husband didn't understand that. And I told him, I said, you don't have to understand it. This is me making sure my mental health is good. So if I'm good, then you guys will be good. Because if I'm not good, then I would tear this house up, And so, right, so it's that. And then also just understanding, this is the biggest thing for me though. I think I told this to Tim one day when he was on the podcast. I showed up at first as a savior. Like, oh, let me save you. Let me help you. Let me do it. Because again, I was thinking about that little bitty child on the inside, like, oh, somebody needed to save her, so let me save everybody. Right. When I turn it around, I said, girl, you're not a savior, you're a resource. When I tell you that has helped me tremendously. Right. And that's another way I restore, like, remember, remind yourself, you're not a savior, you're a resource. Because sometimes that complex may try to creep back in, like, oh my God, especially if something hits home, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, nope. Yep. Resource. I'm like, okay. So those things. And like I said, sometimes just being silly around the house and doing those things. I have my own therapist. Okay. Therapists need therapists. Doctors need doctors. Period. So I have my own coach. Like, yes, everything that I share with people on the counseling side or the coaching side, I do myself. So that's how I help myself, with the restoration part, for sure.
Yeah, you definitely have to do things to keep your cup full. For sure. What are some non-negotiable self-care rituals that help keep you grounded as a woman, not just as a professional?
Yeah, that's a great question. Me saying no. That's a non-negotiable. If I said no, that's all it is.
Ask and answer.
I'm not going to explain my no. Like I literally would stare you down. If you ask me something, I don't care if it's my husband, I don't care if it's my children, I don't care if it's I don't care who it is. Lynn, can we do it? No. And they're like, what?
That's right.
I'm like, that's it.
Right.
We can move on. I already said no. That's a non-negotiable. If I've already said no, don't ask me. And my children, they try it every now and then. Mommy, can I? No. I turn around, look, and I stir the greens and stir the corn.
Right.
I'm like, Mommy, can I?
Yeah.
So it's no. When I want to soak in the bathtub, that's a non-negotiable. Leave me alone. I will lock the door. I don't care if they're beating on the door. I don't care. That's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Shoot, listening to music. Like if I want to listen to music, like anything that I say I'm going to do, those are non-negotiables. If I say I'm going upstairs and I'm gonna be in there for an hour by myself, leave me alone.
Yeah. Don't come knocking.
Don't knock. And even if they do, I pretend like nobody is knocking at the door. Like
Right.
my boundaries are so set. And let me tell you why. And I guess I'll answer with this as well. My boundaries are so set because at one point in my life, I had none.
Yeah.
I had no boundaries. None for myself or for people outside of me. Like I abused my body. I did things like I didn't have no. Whatever you said, let's do whatever, because I didn't love myself. I didn't like myself. I had no boundaries. Once I realized, I was like, hold on now. These people are getting the best of you. And you are being left with nothing. And I was just like, okay, I got you. Bet. Change that right around. And in the beginning, I was very rigid, no, because I was like, I've been abused for so long. It was very harsh. But then I was like, relax. So now I show very assertive, very direct, very honest. In the beginning, when I started creating and then enforcing boundaries, it was very aggressive and all of that. But then it changed. So yeah, all those are non-negotiables simply because at one point I never had any boundaries. Never had any. But now I'm so cool with them. Like butter, like melted butter.
Yeah, listen, I get that because and I think in this moment, I realized why I'm so good at my boundaries. And you're right. It's because for years I didn't have them.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. And so for me, it is as simple. Like my office, this is my little sanctuary. And I have the little keypad door pad. And so only 3 people know it, me, my husband, and my niece.
Yep.
So when I come in here, it's like if the door is locked, then that means only 2 more people have access. But then there are times when I take the battery out, so then no one has access.
Correct.
And I come in here and I put my lovely Beats headphones on and I turn my music on or my book.
That's right.
And I don't hear you knocking. I don't hear anything because I can remember at a time, being a kid, when I just needed to process my emotions. Right. I've always loved reading. I just wanted to go in my room and read a book. And then here comes my mom. And I'm like, if you don't go on somewhere, lady, like I'm about to lose my shit. So not having had that before and now being back in a space where I again love reading and, things like that. It's like sometimes you do have to just reclaim that.
You do.
And everybody wants something from you, when you're the main, what is it? The main female character of the house. Everybody wants something from you. And I'm like, I got nothing for y'all. Like, go on, find something to eat or don't.
Or don't.
I don't really care. I had McDonald's on the way home. I don't care what y'all do.
Exactly. I ate the car, so I don't care what you're eating.
Yeah. And then that thing with a friend of mine, I heard her say it to her son, and it was like a light bulb went off. He kept asking her something, and she said, asked and answered. I said, baby, you just changed my whole life.
Asked and answered. That's right.
I was like, asked and answered. So I say it with everybody because I haven't mastered the blank stare. You do that so well.
Thank you.
But I'm asked and answered because I don't like to say because I said so, because there's so much trauma that comes with that too. But asked and answered, I could serve that all day. Yeah.
It's nothing condescending about that. It's just like you asked, I answered. That's
It
it.
is what it is. Yeah.
And after the no, there's nothing else except for a period or exclamation point. It just depends on how you want to say it. But for me,
Exactly.
there's nothing else after the no but the punctuation mark. That's it.
Yeah. It's like,
Period.
I'm sorry you thought that was a question.
Mm-mm. It's not.
Maybe you didn't hear me. No, period. If
That's
you
it.
ask me again, it's going to be no exclamation point.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you're doing in the community. I love why you do what you do in the community because ultimately, I believe that you are building legacy.
yeah,
And I think that you're really shifting the narrative of what healing looks like in our community.
yeah.
And I know that, obviously when you are walking in your purpose, that your why is rooted in something that's bigger.
Yeah.
And, some of it you probably still don't even understand,
Mm-hmm.
because it's always evolving. It's like we're constantly getting downloads
Mm-hmm.
of what to do next.
Yeah.
Um, what do you hope that people say years from now when they speak your name and your work? What do you hope that they remember or what they're talking about?
Oh, yeah. I love that. So, and I'm glad you asked it this way because this is another download God gave me. After I'm gone, after the work is done, after all of the things, I really want people to know that healing, restoration, and transformation are all possible. I don't care what it is, I don't care what happened. Like when we go through experiences and situations and all the things that we think are unfair, those are the things that show up. We never think we can heal. We never think we can forgive. We never think any of that. So I want that to be like the main thing that I'm known for. And being, let me see how God gave it to me. Hold on. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to remove anything and I don't want to add anything.
Absolutely.
When he gave me the HRT coach, I promise you this is answering your question as well. When he gave me the HRT coach, I said, well, what does that mean? And he showed me and I shared that. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do with that? And he says, there are going to be millions of people that you are going to help heal. All right, fine. But what am I going to be known for? And I would not share this ever because I was like, I don't want people thinking that I'm just like this and this. And he was like, this is who you're going to be. The Harriet Tubman of sexual abuse.
Mm.
Okay. And I said, But then as I continue to speak, every time I speak, I think about she was an enslaved woman that freed herself. I hope you follow me.
Mm-hmm.
She was enslaved. She didn't put herself there. Her circumstances, everything, but she freed herself.
Yeah.
What did she do? She went back and she got those that wanted to be free. She didn't make anybody come that didn't want to come. She didn't pull anybody along. Those that wanted to stay, they stayed. But what would she do? She would go back each time. You ready? Are you ready? No? Okay, I'm taking the ones that are going to go that want freedom.
Yeah.
And I said, again, I can get with that. So that's what I want people to remember me for. All the things, the healing, the restoration, the transformation, but also being the Harriet Tubman of sexual abuse, because that's exactly my purpose. That's my assignment. So, and that's what's going to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Sis, like that's the mic drop moment. They've waited this whole podcast just for that moment right there.
Sure.
And that's something that is going to heal people years from now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart for your transparency, for your testimony, and for the sacred space that you are, not only showing up in, but the space that you're holding for other people to heal. I really do believe that you are living proof that purpose can rise from pain and obedience can bloom into legacy.
Yeah.
I know that there are going to be listeners who want to get deeper into your work. I encourage them to. So can you take a moment to please let them know how they're able to connect with you, follow your journey, and ultimately just be a part of the HRT movement? Because that's what I call it now. Right? I don't know if that's what you call it, but honey, it's a movement. Okay.
It is a movement, isn't it? So I would start with on Instagram, it is the HRT Coach. Okay, it's that. My personal website is Lynn Meyer, which is LYNNMEYER.com. Where else am I? And I also have a nonprofit called I Choose Her. So that's ichooseher.org. We didn't get into that, but that also serves women of color that have dealt with trauma of sexual abuse and domestic violence. And we help them heal holistically, meaning there's not just one way to heal. There's multiple ways of healing. We educate them on that. And then, of course, Men Cry in the Car. That's on YouTube. We would love for you to subscribe and come and be a part and just be part of the community and tribe. And those are the ways to find me, to work with me, to talk to me, and all of the things.
Absolutely. And you guys, as always, I will be sure to pin all of the links in the description below for you. So again, I encourage everyone within the self-care community to connect with her. There's so much more. Like we could go for hours, you guys, and doing my little research behind the scenes, I was like, oh, we're going to have some more shows. Lynn going to be back. Okay. Yeah, sure. She's part of the family now, y'all. Okay. So this is not going to be the last time y'all see her if I have my way. Okay. Absolutely. I'm manifesting great things from these connections. So yeah, I thank you so much for being here. And like I said, just holding space with us, just being open to doing that, to sharing your truth, to sharing your community, with us. So I appreciate you more than words can even explain, Queen. Like you already know how I feel.
Thank you for having me. Like, thank you for requesting me to come up. Like, this was so good. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Like I said, you'll be back. She'll be back, y'all. Don't worry. She'll be back. Guys, before we part ways, let me just leave you with a little love and light. As always, I encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, through the lows, and every single moment in between. Keep choosing peace, even when it feels out of reach. And know that here at the Self-Care Club, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. I always encourage you to not be afraid to take up space, to speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life, and I am praying that you have a day that is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. This has been a Room to Breathe podcast, and I cannot wait to connect with you again soon. Thank you so much.